Welcome students. In this video we will discuss about soil. Soil, as we know, is one of the most important abiotic factor. It is a resource that supports plant and animal life. Soil is renewable natural resource. It's a medium where plants grow and it supports different types of living organisms. Soil is, in fact, a living system in itself. The soil formation process takes millions of years. The soil layer, as we know, is a few centimeters in depth. Still, this process of formation of soil takes place in millions of years. The relief features the parent rock, climate, vegetation, and other various forms of life, along with change in temperature, actions of running water, wind and glaciers, and overall the actions of the decomposers. They all contribute to the soil formation. Basically it is the rocks, that is the weathering of rocks, that ultimately leads to the formation of soil. On the basis of the factors responsible for soil formation, on the basis of color, on the basis of thickness, on the basis of texture, age, chemical and physical properties, the different types of soils found in India are: alluvial soil. It is the most widely spread soil. In fact, the entire northern plains are made up of alluvial soil. It is deposited by the three river systems that originate. These are the three Himalayan river systems, that is the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. It is found in deltas of Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri rivers. Alluvial soil consists of sand, silt, and clay in various proportions from place to place. The proportion and the composition of alluvial changes a little bit from place to place, from region to region. When it is old alluvial, it is known as Bangar, and the new alluvial which is formed is known as Khadar. The old alluvial, that is Bangar, is composed of conker particles, whereas Khadar has fine particles, and hence Khadar is more fertile as compared to Bangar. This soil is more fertile, that is the alluvial soil is more fertile, and hence it is fit for agriculture. It contains various chemical components like potash, phosphoric acid, and lime, which are ideal for growth of sugarcane, wheat, paddy, cereals, and pulses. Since this soil is more fertile and is best suited for agriculture, therefore the regions having alluvial soil, they are intensively cultivated and they are densely populated. A large population is living in the regions which are covered with alluvial soil. Now, black soil. The black soil is also called regur soil. This soil is ideal for growing cotton, and hence sometimes it is known as black cotton soil. The two factors that are considered to be important for formation of black soil are the climatic conditions and the parent rock or the bed rock. This soil is chiefly found in the Deccan, that is the basaltic region, and in the northwest Deccan plateaus, that is this region. This region is the region of black soil. This gray part, this is the region of the black soil. This alluvial soil is this plain region depicted in the map of India is the part of alluvial soil. Then we have the red and yellow soil. This is the red and yellow soil, and this area from Kashmir till Assam and the northeastern states, this area is covered with forests and mountains, hence forest soil or mountainous soil is found in abundance in this area. That is the tropical area covering the uppermost parts of India and the eastern parts, some parts in the east, this near Nepal and lying towards the eastern side. This black soil covers the regions of Maharashtra, the regional plateaus of Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Chhattisgarh. This black soil is made up of clay particles, and as we know, clay particles have more water retention capacity. Therefore, this soil can retain water for a longer time. This soil is rich in chemical compounds like calcium carbonate, magnesium, potash. The black soil contains phosphorus in poor quantities. They also develop deep cracks during hot weather, that is in summers, and these cracks, they help in proper aeration. The soils become sticky when they are wet, and it becomes difficult to work on them. Why? Because the soil contains clay particles prominently, which are well known to retain moisture for a longer time. Then we have the red and yellow soils. Red soils, they develop on crystalline igneous rocks in areas where low rainfall is there. They are found in the eastern and southern parts of the Deccan Plateau that covers parts of Orissa, Chhattisgarh and southern part of Middle Ganga Plain. This soil is generally red in color because of the diffusion or mixing of iron with the soil, and it is this mixing of iron that gives a red appearance to this soil. Hence, this is known as red soil. This soil also looks yellow when it is in hydrated form, that is, when it is wet, it becomes hydrated, and in hydrated form it looks yellow. Now we have laterite soil. This laterite soil is derived from the Latin word later, that means brick. This soil develops under tropical and subtropical climate with alternate wet and dry season. Tropical climate means a climate which is never too hot and neither too cold. It keeps on changing. The weather conditions, the temperature, the rainfall pattern, it keeps on changing alternatively. Such a climate is tropical climate. So this laterite soil develops better in tropical and subtropical climatic conditions, and this results in leaching of water due to heavy rain. Leaching, that is when water, it keeps on accumulating on the surface of soil and it is not allowed to percolate, that is leaching. So this heavy rains result in intense leaching and this soil is formed. This soil generally is deficient in plant nutrients and it has a acidic content, that is up to 6, pH level is up to 6. So this soil is acidic. This soil is found in the southern states, Western Ghats, Maharashtra, Odisha, parts of West Bengal. It supports deciduous and evergreen forests, and it is rich in humus, but it is under sparse vegetation and semi-arid environment. It is rich in humus. It is useful for growing tea and coffee plantations. Now we have arid soil. Arid soil, it ranges from red to brown color. That is, at some places the soil is red, whereas at some places it becomes brown. The color from red changes to brown. It gives a sandy texture and it is saline in nature. The soil content is very high, and the salt content being very high makes it saline in nature. Since the salt content is very high, this soil is used to obtain common salt by the process of evaporation. We all know this. Due to dry climate and high temperature, the evaporation rate is faster, and this soil, since it is saline, no such living organisms are found in this soil, hence it lacks humus and moisture because it is a bit sandy. It is having a bit sandy texture, therefore this soil is having less moisture or no moisture at all. This soil lower horizons, they are occupied by conchers, that is very small pebbles or stones, and these layers of conchers, they are in the bottom horizons, and these restrict water infiltration, that is the seeping of water and retaining of water. Water seeps quickly in these soils, but it cannot hold water for a longer time. Then we have the forest soils. As the name itself suggests, this soil is found in hilly and mountainous areas. The soil texture, it varies according to the mountain environment, the environment prevailing in the mountain regions. The mountainous regions where sufficient rain forests are available. The loamy and these soils are loamy and silty in valley sides, and on the upper slopes they are coarse grained. That is, silty means very fine dust like particles. So this soil, when it rolls down, the particles, they become finer and finer, and hence it is silty and loamy in the valley sides, and it is coarse grained in the upper slopes or the upper sides of the hills. This soil experiences denudation, and this is acidic, and it contains less humus. Low humus content is a characteristic feature of this forest soil. The denudation they experience is in the snow covered areas of Himalayas. These soils, which are found in the lower part of the valleys on the river terraces, these become fertile there when they are mixed with the alluvial particles. Now we have soil erosion. Soil erosion is the denudation of soil cover and subsequent washing down of soil due to the action of various agents like wind and running water, or sometimes even floods. So this soil erosion is referred to the removal of top fertile layer of soil or the removal of top soil cover due to subsequent washing down or blowing away of soil due to air and running water. The running water, it cuts through the clayey soils and make deep channels, and these channels are known as gullies. After soil erosion, the land becomes generally unfit for cultivation and is known as the bad land. Now we will study about soil conservation, how we can conserve the soil. Soil can be conserved by contour plowing in areas where mountains are there. As soil erosion is caused due to defective methods of farming, that is plowing in a wrong way, the slope forms channels for quick flowing of water that leads to soil erosion. That's why contour lines are made, and plowing along the contour lines, they decelerate, that is they decrease the speed of flowing water, and hence soil erosion can be prevented. In hilly areas or in the slopes, steps are cut and terraces are made. This terrace cultivation again restricts the soil erosion. The large fields, they can be divided into strips, and these strips of grasses, they are left to grow between the crops, and the force of the blowing wind, it is stopped or it weakens, it breaks up, and this method is called strip cropping. Also, planting of trees to create shelter, it also works in a similar way, and it breaks down the speed of wind and hence prevents soil erosion. This rows of trees which are planted is also known as shelter belts. So these methods can be used to prevent soil erosion and hence to conserve the soil. Thank you.